I've had so many memorable moments at the library, but some that really stand out. Back in the 1980s and 90s, I bore a pretty good resemblance to actor, martial arts expert Chuck Norris. Looked a lot like him, to the point that people would say, almost without a week passing, would say, "You look like Chuck Norris." Anybody ever tell you look like Chuck Norris? Man, you know who you look like? And one day I was at the library, and I had the beard and the hair, and I was about 170 pounds, which is about what Chuck weighs. A little boy looked up at me and he said, "You look like Chuck Norris." And I couldn't resist it. I said, "Son, I am Chuck Norris." The little boy went. I said, "I got tired of all that riffraff in Hollywood. I decided to come to the library here in North Carolina and get me a good job, just relax." And I told him, of course, I was kidding him. One touching moment that I always think about through the years is that we never know what our words and actions may result in. I have Tourette's syndrome, and I jerk sometimes and twitch. And I know that there was a little girl there one time, a small girl, with her grandmother. And she said, "Why do you do this?" And her mother scolded her and said, and I said, no. If you don't mind, let me answer her question. I said, "I have Tourette's syndrome." And I said, "What it is, it's something that's a chemical in the brain. It causes some people to blurt things out. It makes some people twitch and jerk. And, we really can't help it. But it's called Tourette's syndrome." She was really studious looking about it. So I thought, I hope that was a good answer. And a few weeks later, my grandmother said, "I want you to know that because of how you answered my granddaughter, she got interested in that. And she is showing signs of wanting to be a psychologist. She checked out some sort of basic books on psychology, and she wanted to read about what you said you had." And I said, "Tourette's syndrome." So I always thought that was neat. I don't know whatever happened to her, but it would make me feel good to know that I had given an answer to a child who was puzzled as to why this strange man's twitching and jerking. And it always made me feel good to think that I may have inadvertently helped launch a career that helps many people. Another incident that did not happen at the YMCA, but it's similar. It happened at the YMCA. It didn't happen at the library, at the YMCA. And a friend of mine from Taiwan, or was it Thailand? Anyway, very discouraged, and I could tell. And I had been reading a lot about my first cousin, twice removed, Dr. Isaac Alexander Biggert Jr., who was a world-famous surgeon, chief of surgery at Medical College of Virginia in Richmond, Virginia. And I was thinking about how wonderful the medical profession is. And I said, "Albert, have you ever thought about..." Well, he was very depressed because he couldn't find a job. He tried selling Toyotas and it didn't work. He had a degree in textiles. And of course, the textile industry was gone. So he was having a difficult time career-wise. And I said, "You ever thought about nursing?" "No, Bob, I haven't." "Well, let me suggest that you look into it, because you'll be doing a career that helps countless people. You're providing a priceless service. You'll probably make good money. You will not be outsourced. Your job will be secure." I set him up with a friend of mine who was an emergency room nurse. They talked, and the next thing I knew, Albert was working going to Gaston College, taking nursing courses, and he was also working part-time at Lincoln County Hospital and Gaston Memorial Hospital, which is now known as Caramont Regional Medical Center. Time passed, he worked, he studied, he went to school. He took me out to eat one day because he had gotten a degree in nursing, a bachelor's degree, and he sort of attributed my encouragement or my suggestion, to me. He sort of, that was what prompted him. But I said, well, you took to it so fast and so quickly, you would have found it eventually anyway on your own. But I was just sort of a catalyst or sort of an instigator in that respect. And the last I heard, he got a master's degree in nursing. And it all resulted from a question in a locker room at the Gaston County Central YMCA in Gastonia, North Carolina. So we never know what the words we say, the effect they're going to have. And I kept that in mind for 27 years at the Gaston County Public Library, because you might say something casually. One elderly lady said that she liked me because I laughed at her jokes. That might be a minor thing. That might be something, nothing important about it. But we never know how it's going to make a person feel. To know that somebody cares enough to appreciate their jokes and laugh at their jokes. And, brighten the corner where you are. My grandfather gave me a poem years ago, and I looked it up many years later, but the way he wrote it was this, and I'll quote it just as he wrote it. Little drops of water, little grains of sand, make the mighty ocean and the pleasant land. Little deeds of kindness, little words of love, make the earth an Eden like the heaven above. So, just little words of kindness and thoughtfulness and appreciation. And that stayed with me all my years at our public library. The words that we speak have an impact. And if you can go that extra mile and help people find what they need and what they want. And also I carried it beyond the doors because, one day at Bojangles, a man said, you headed for the library? And I said, yeah. He said, you mind taking a box of paperback book donations? And I did. And people would get me to return items. You're going to the library? Yes. And so little things like that. And I think that's how I knew that I had found where I was meant to be in life, because I took to it so naturally, and it was such an important part of me. And there was never a turn the switch off moment. It was always, on all the time. Always there. But I'll give you an example. I had a man call me last night, a long-time patron at the library, and he said that he had found the DVD that he had lost. And I told him, I'm no longer there, and I don't think it registered. But he talked to me as if I still work at the Gaston County Public Library. And so I talked to him, and I said, well, that's good. I'm so glad you found it. And just take it in when you first get a chance, and that sort of thing. And we hung up. But it was important to him to call somebody after the library was closed and be able to tell that person, that he had found an item that he thought he had lost. So that was important, and it continues to be important. And I've got 27 years of wonderful memories to reflect on. And it'll never be out of my system, and it'll never be out of me, and I'll never be over it, because it was just something that I did and enjoyed for so much. And I don't much want to go back for a long time, because it'll be an instinct to hop across the desk and pick up where I left off. Of course, you can't do that. But that library has been and see, that's the dual careers. the enjoyment of working in radio and so many wonderful experiences in radio, and but just the daily interaction with the patrons at the library was what kept me going. And getting to meet so many interesting people. I met a Navy SEAL who had some fascinating stories to relate, and he would tell me across the desk about some of the experiences he had as a Navy SEAL in Vietnam. And other people, I mean, just a fellow named Rob Sweetgall, who is a walking guru and has walked across the United States many times. But he said something about if you'll keep your mouth shut, for like 5 minutes, you'll get an education every time you talk to somebody. Because the hard part for me is keeping my mouth shut for 5 minutes. And I am related to Joseph Gillis Biggar, Biggar, a member of the Irish Parliament, who was one of the first to use the filibuster in Ireland. And a lot of people who know me say, I don't have any trouble believing that at all, because I do talk a lot and enjoy it. But the Gaston County Public Library is emblazoned right here, and my years in radio are emblazoned in here, and I'll keep them with me. And I think that both careers, radio broadcasting and a little bit of TV, volunteer TV work, and the work at the library, were where I was meant to be from like age 20 to 65.